Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast, and today we're going to be doing things a little differently. Today, this is coming out raw, unedited, didn't even get it to the producer because it just needed to go out. So apologize in advance for any audio things you might hear because our producer Justin is A1 and he clears them up pretty well, but this has to go out. I'm recording right after the Ohio State men's basketball game. We just lost to Oral Roberts. Ohio State was the number 2 seed. Oral Roberts was the number 15 seed, and Ohio State lost 75-72. And before I really just explode on that game, just want to give a retrospective of Ohio State men's basketball's season. So in the preseason, Ohio State was picked 8th to win the Big Ten. And they were ranked 23rd in the AP poll. We were the 5th among the Big Ten teams at that time, but a lot of people had us 8th in the Big Ten, and a lot of other people had us 9th in the Big Ten to win the Big Ten. Going forward from there, we go to the regular season, and Ohio State actually finishes regular season-wise 5th in the Big Ten with a conference record of 12-8, an overall record of 21-9. They were 10-4 at home, 7-4 on the road, 4-1 on neutral sites. We go then to the Big Ten tournament where Ohio State actually makes the Big Ten tournament finals and loses to Illinois. Ohio State was as high ranked as number 4th in the country, and then we were looking at a potential number 1 seed at that point in time. But then the fateful game against the Michigan Wolverines in Columbus, Ohio, it was a great game. Michigan won that game 92-87 on February 21st. And since that game on February 21st, Ohio State has not been the same. They went on to lose to Michigan State 71-67. They got blitzed by Iowa 73-57. Lost at Illinois 73-68. And then we go into the Big Ten tournament. And for the people who were saying that Ohio State was playing well in the Big Ten tournament because they were winning games, that does not mean you are playing well. That means you were just playing better than that team on that day. Ohio State did not play well in the Big Ten tournament at all. The wins against Minnesota, Purdue, and Michigan leading up to the loss at Illinois. Minnesota and Purdue, Ohio State had huge leads in the second half, and they blew them each time. They blew them against Minnesota, then blew them against Purdue, and they blew it against Michigan. The Purdue game went to overtime where Ohio State pulled away in overtime. The Michigan game, Michigan just had a terrible last-second play on that, and they should have won that game. So Ohio State was not playing well. Ohio State had the inability to close games when it really mattered and could only win games if they were up 10 points with 30 seconds left. If there was any time left, Ohio State would blow a lead, and then it's anybody's ball game. And that's the Ohio State team that's showed up since February 21st against Michigan. And then the Illinois Big Ten championship game, Ohio State was actually the team down for a lot of it. And then they fought back. We went in overtime, and we lost that one 91-88. And that was probably the best game Ohio State's played since the Michigan loss in February because they were fighting back and they weren't giving up. We go to the Oral Roberts game, and I'm not going to be sugarcoating this, guys. This was an embarrassment. This was an embarrassment to the program. This was an embarrassment to the university. This was an embarrassment to the great state of Ohio. Ohio State had no business losing that game whatsoever. Joe Lunardi, for those who follow college basketball, he's the great bracketologist, probably the greatest bracketologist ever. And he had Ohio State on upset watch. I was driving home from work. People on 11 Warriors, all that, thought that was funny that Joe would have us on upset watch. But apparently, he knew something that we did not know. If you were a big March Madness person, you were looking at these things. And Oral Roberts actually has the nation's leading scorer. Let me get his name for you guys, for those who do not know. Max Abmas, I'm sorry. So Max was the leading scorer in the country, averaging 24 points a game, and he was shooting about 40+% from three as well. And at the beginning of the first half, we were just letting him shoot it, and I could tell right away that Ohio State's defense was not prepared for him. And then you also go to his running mate, Mr. O'Banner, who he was only averaging about 18 points a game in the regular season. He comes into this game and shoots 9 for 21, and then 5 for 12 for 3, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, and he drops 30. So Ohio State let two players, one had 29 and one had 30. The rest of the team did not have a double-digit scorer. The next closest to the 29 was 6. Guys, this is bad. This was really bad. And the things that happened leading at the end of that game was just abysmal. At the end of the first half, Oral Roberts missed 14 of their 15 shots in the middle of the first half. So they didn't make a shot for 8 minutes. And Ohio State could not score on this team. You think, yeah, 72 is cool and all, but you got to realize that Oral Roberts actually had the lowest defensive efficiency rating in the NCAA tournament. They have not stopped a soul this whole year. And then they come to Ohio State, and we can't make shots. We're having turnovers. It was embarrassing. And also remember, too, that Oral Roberts had to win their tournament to get in here. Oral Roberts came into this NCAA tournament with a record of 16-10. And we couldn't get it done. In the second half alone, Oral Roberts only made 8 for 29 shots and went 4 for 17 from the 3. And we still couldn't get it done. And Ohio State, they just played really bad. They had 16 turnovers. And let's just talk about the end and how it really came to be with these Buckeyes, that Dwayne Washington Jr., he, in the span of the end of regulation to overtime, missed the game-winning step-back 3, missed 2 free throws back-to-back with 31 seconds in OT. Then he gets the defensive rebound right after, misses a layup with 23 seconds left, then misses the game-tying 3 in OT. After we shot a 3 with Justin Arns, got the rebound, kicked it out to Dwayne Washington Jr., wide open, missed it, and Ohio State's season ends. Dwayne Washington Jr. played 43 minutes, and his stats were terrible. He went 7 for 21 from the field. He went 3 for 12 from 3. He went 1 from 3 from the free throw line, and he had a total of 18 points. So 21 shots, 18 points. That's not good. Not going to cut it at all. E.J. Liddell, he went 10 for 15 from the field, 1 for 3 for 3, 2 for 4 from the free throw line, and he had 23 points. E.J. did have a costly turnover at the end, but he was playing extremely well. He also had 14 rebounds as well, and then also C.J. Walker had 12 points. But besides that, we weren't getting any points from anywhere else. Justin Arns, ever since the middle of this year, once everyone saw he could just shoot and they put a body on him, we lost our three-point shooter. We haven't been able to get a good three-point shooter like that in a minute, and once people figured him out, it was over for him. So where does this do with Ohio State's basketball season? So they finished overall now 21-10. They get a number 2 seed, and as Chris Holtmann is the coach, he's never lost in the first round in Ohio State. So he has his highest ranked team lose in the first round. And it kind of stinks because now the season's a failure. Even before the preseason rankings, Sweet 16 was a must for this team. They were supposed to get to the Sweet 16 at least, and that would have been an accomplished season. Obviously, they were a lot better than all of us anticipated, including myself, and I've been following this team all year, and I didn't think they'd be this good this year. I thought it'd take another year for them to be what they are now. And there was times where I thought we were going to be a number 1 seed until we hit that 4-game losing streak. And to lose the way that we did against Oral Roberts is, again, like I said, and I'm going to say it a million times, it's a freaking embarrassment. And we were obviously the first upset of the NCAA tournament. The game was at 3, and we were the first. 15 takes down 2. Last time one of those things happened was CJ McCollum's team against Duke. So now just thinking about this team now, and it's just an abysmal end to the season. Like, there's just going to be a dark cloud over this team's head as they've been in Indianapolis since the Big Ten tournament. First day of the NCAA tournament, they're coming home to Columbus because they couldn't get the job done. Oral Roberts was a 16-point underdog. 16-point underdog. Lowest defensive rating in the tournament, and Ohio State couldn't get it done. So where do the Buckeyes go from here? Obviously, they're going to have a longer offseason than they thought they would. And we're going to have to see who comes back, the new recruits, and things of that nature. But they got to get back to the tournament next year, and they got to win some games because this was bad. This was really bad. It was really embarrassing. Of course, with the NCAA tournament, you have these sad crying faces. All the Ohio State fans, we were the first to become those memes because of our abysmal performance in the NCAA tournament. And it stinks because we didn't win the regular season Big Ten tournament. Big Ten. We didn't win the Big Ten tournament, and then we're the first team out in the NCAA tournament. That's just simply embarrassing. And I want to hit on this too because I saw the notification that a couple fans sent EJ Liddell threatening messages because of Ohio State losing and the way he played and saying they were going to kill him and all of that. And I just want to address this too, that guys, I'm as Ohio State fan as big as anyone out there, but there's no place for that. That's just bad fandom. Trust me, they are just as mad, if not madder, than being embarrassed on national TV than we are as fans. And you saying that you're going to threaten to kill them, which you won't, that's just bad. And there's no place for that type of fandom in the Buckeye State. So if you're saying that to some of our players, you're not an Ohio State fan. Get out of here with that garbage. You can be mad at their play and how bad they played, like I am, because they played really bad. And Ohio State was trash. And it was embarrassing. But don't come after someone's life. Remember, on the court, off the court, everyone here is a human being. We all have our emotions. We're all pissed about this, but threatening someone's life is crossing the line, and I really hope that CPD and all of that catch the people who sent those threatening messages to EJ Liddell. So yeah, that's really the wrap-up of Ohio State's season. We finished 21-10, 5th in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten was loaded. Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, Purdue, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Maryland, Michigan State, Indiana, Penn State. All the boys. Big Ten was loaded. Had 9 teams in the tournament this year. And after day 1, 3 of them are out, I believe. And that's just bad. So hopefully the other Big Ten teams don't embarrass the conference as we did. And just going forward, again, we're finishing the year 21-10, 5th in the Big Ten regular season, Big Ten tournament runner-ups. You would think that's a really good year, but that Oral Roberts game will never leave this program, ever, unless they win a national championship this year. And I thought we were on track to build towards something like that, but after this game, we need to really look back and see what went wrong, and they need to be in the lab all summer because the first game of the year, this is what's going to get brought up. All the players coming back, this is what's going to get brought up. Sure, we didn't have Kyle Young in this game. We haven't had him with big because he's had concussion issues, but even without Kyle Young, we should have been scoring way more and played a lot better than we did. So that's the Ohio State wrap-up. It's really bittersweet to do this because I didn't think I'd be doing this early. This is right after the game. And we just sucked. And it was embarrassing. And Dwayne Washington Jr. shot all those shots and didn't make anything. he should have looked for his teammates, but his teammates weren't really doing anything besides EJ. Justin Sewing didn't do anything, but Dwayne Washington Jr., I'm just going to look at the stat line. I'm going to repeat it again. 7 for 21 from the field. 3 for 12 for 3. 1 for 3 from the free throw line. That was another thing. Ohio State didn't make any free throws. They were garbage. They were only 9 for 18 from the free throw line. That's 50%. You can't be shooting 50% from the free throw line and expect to win. And they shot 21% from 3. That's embarrassing, too, compared to Oral Roberts shooting 77% from the free throw line and 31% from 3. That's just bad. And he had 18 points on 21 shots. That's not efficient at all. A lot of people are thinking Dwayne Washington Jr. could go on a Jimmer Fredette, Steph Curry type run because of the type of player and shooting he has. That obviously wasn't the case. When it came to the biggest game, he failed. Point blank simple. There's nothing against him as a person, but looking at those stats, this was the biggest game of the season. This is win or go home. If you would have lost in the Big Ten tournament, you know you're in the NCAA tournament. But once you get to the NCAA tournament, it is literally win or go home. And Dwayne Washington Jr. decided to go home because his play was abysmal and trash. And I hate saying it, but that's what it was. Now we're going to have to move forward and end the Buckeye basketball season on a piss poor, sour note. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the L7C podcast, and this Buckeye rant had to do it. And, man, we just weren't good, guys. We just weren't good. Make sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe on all the listening platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Radio Public, you name it. We'll be back. Thank you guys for listening to L7C Podcast. Go Bucks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C Podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.